There's a lot of investors in this league. One investor, been trying to keep quiet about, his investment in the league ever since his comments that he made about a young rookie. Pretty much, had him in the headlines for about a month and a half. That is Geno Auriemma, dog. I'm here to tell you, he's part owner of this league.
Remember when Geno Auriemma questioned Caitlin Clark's ability to thrive in the WNBA? Well, destiny has a way of setting the record straight. Once hailed as an unrivaled basketball mastermind, Geno is now watching his once solid foundation start to crack. And now, Caitlin Clark, the very player he overlooked, holds the one key that could change everything. But this time, she's calling the shot.
I said earlier, they actually had odds that, she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be MVP of the WNBA. That's such a slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable, right?
It's a classic case of actions having consequences. Auriemma's criticism is now backfiring, reflected in declining ratings and significant financial setbacks. Meanwhile, Clark is letting her game do the talking, shattering records and proving him wrong with every performance in the WNBA. Now that's a plot twist.
We got an update on the unrivaled ratings for last Friday night, and well, as you can expect, they unraveled, as I like to say. Not good. I mean, we're basically at half the ratings now of the debut.
Some people just can't help but make questionable choices, and Geno is giving us a front row seat to his latest misstep. The UConn coach, once riding high on his college success, believed unrivaled was his next big win. But let's be honest, this investment is quickly unraveling into a high-stakes disaster.
However, we've got an update here from one of the owners of the unrivaled, and let's be real, this league will not make it if they don't get Caitlin Clark involved. And I think they realize that.
Let's set the stage. Auriemma, brimming with confidence, decides to invest heavily in a new women's basketball league. He's convinced that his influence guarantees success, that everything he touches in the sport turns to gold. But here's the catch. The league's future hinges on star power, and guess who isn't on board? That's right, the one and only Caitlin Clark.
You guys don't remember? Asia Reese said she was also the draw. Did you guys forget about that? The hottest woman basketball player on the planet isn't involved in the unrivaled, and weeks in, ratings are down under 100,000 viewers. So where's the lie? What am I missing?
Now, Auriemma is probably pacing in his office, eyes glued to the viewership numbers, and they're not just low, they're embarrassingly low. We're talking a plunge from 300,000 viewers to barely scraping 100,000. That's like going from Madison Square Garden to a neighborhood gym. It's a free fall that has everyone involved breaking out in a cold sweat.
Look like Geno Auriemma could be the reason why Caitlin Clark is definitely not joining the unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league.
But it's not just Auriemma feeling the pressure. His fellow investors are starting to panic too. This isn't just his problem anymore. It's spiraling into a full-blown financial disaster. What once seemed like a rock-solid business model on paper is now looking as fragile as a house of cards in a storm.
We've got to back up the Brinks truck. I mean, I know they offered her $1 million, which I think was roughly like 3 times what I think most of these players are getting. I think they've got to get much bigger. I think they got to give her $10 million to play in this thing. I know some people will laugh at that, but you've got no chance of turning a profit if you don't get Caitlin Clark involved in this league.
You have to wonder what was going through Auriemma's mind when he signed those checks. Did he really believe he could build a successful league without the star power of players like Caitlin Clark? That's like trying to make a blockbuster movie without A-list actors. Sure, the script might be solid, but who's buying tickets? And speaking of Clark, her decision to turn down Unrivaled's offer is looking smarter by the day. Reports say they put over $1 million on the table for just an 8-week season. Serious cash. But Clark saw the bigger picture. She knew her worth and exactly where she wanted to leave her mark, the WNBA.
You're not going to get the ratings, which in turn is not going to give you the revenue. The advertisers won't be there, right? You got to think about this.
Now, Auriemma's investment is looking riskier than a half-court shot at the buzzer. You can almost picture him watching Clark dominate in the WNBA, knowing she could have been the saving grace for Unrivaled. That's got to sting, especially considering how much he's criticized her in the past. But let's talk numbers for a second. How much did Geno actually pour into this venture? We're talking the kind of money that could buy a small island or fund countless college scholarships. You have to wonder if he's rethinking some of those past comments about Clark. All the doubt, all the criticism. Now she's thriving while his investment crumbles. It's like watching a real-time lesson in karma unfold on the basketball court.
I know some of y'all were very happy that she's not doing Unrivaled, as, to stick it to the people who treated her poorly.
But here's the reality. This entire situation is exposing a fundamental flaw in how some people view women's basketball. Auriemma and the other Unrivaled backers assumed they could simply throw money at the problem and build a successful league overnight. They underestimated the necessity of true star power and overestimated their ability to attract elite talent.
Yes, it is unrivaled. It is also unwatched. Look, let's be honest, we can sugarcoat it all you want, but if you don't have Caitlin Clark playing women's basketball, or if you're not the NCAA tournament playing women's basketball, you got nothing. Zero zip, nothing.
Remember when everyone thought Caitlin Clark was about to cash in big with Unrivaled? Well, plot twist, she said no. And let me tell you, it wasn't just about the money. There's a whole backstory here that Geno Auriemma and his investor Groot never saw coming.
Angel Reese may be playing in the league, but who wants to see a goofy 6'6" woman miss layups? Not I.
Picture this. Unrivaled approaches Caitlin Clark with an offer that would make most people quit their day jobs on the spot. We're talking 7 figures for just a few weeks of play. Sounds like a no-brainer, right? But Clark wasn't interested. And trust me, this isn't just about the money. There's a much bigger story here. Let's rewind for a second. Remember how Geno Auriemma couldn't seem to stop mentioning Clark's name? Yeah, those comments haven't exactly aged like fine wine. In fact, they've turned into some pretty sour grapes for Geno.
Delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's 3rd or 4th in betting odds on being MVP at the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning. Anna said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
He has decided not to do Unrivaled, even though Aaliyah Boston's doing it, Lexi Hull is doing it, Kate Martin is doing it, and despite all the rumors, and I'm sure the push that was put on her. But Clark has all the leverage in this situation, and I'm not saying she flexed it, but she was comfortable enough in her position to make the decision. And it appears that answer is no.
I gotta ask you a basketball question. I know that you work really hard in the off season. You said yesterday you're always trying to get better. What's the thing that you're working on in this off season?
I think, honestly, besides the actual basketball skill part of it, I think getting stronger, that's what I'm focusing on. I'm in the weight room a lot, just building that strength. Obviously, it was hard going right from the college season to the professional season. You don't get to spend a lot of time in the weight room, so that's what I've tried to focus on the most here. And then obviously, a lot of things on the court. I'm always wanting to get better, and that's kind of what drives me, and I love it. I love getting to do it, and I feel very fortunate that it's my job.
Unrivaled. Phantom versus the Lunar Owls. Please rename all of these teams. A .16. You guys know what that translates to? 160,000 viewers. The Unrivaled. Mist versus Rose. 160,000 viewers. Not good. All right, not good.
My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day. I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
More history for the FIBA rookie.
At this point, continue to be myself, and I think a lot of good will come from that. I just come out here and try to, play basketball in a way that people love watching, in a way that is going to make my team successful, and the records and whatever, or the stats, that's just what comes with it.
No, baby. If Caitlin Clark is on the team, it becomes the right team. Because Caitlin Clark is on it. It's like saying Michael Jordan's not on the right team. It's the right team if Michael Jordan is on the roster.